The Boston Celtics have officially swept the Brooklyn Nets after defeating them 116-112 in a critical game that the Brooklyn Nets had to win. They are not happy about it. Here's KD after the game.
I mean, it's tough to lose. I mean, end of your season. I mean, we love doing what we do, So not being able to get up and go to the gym every day is going to be a shock for us the first few weeks, and then we're going to go and enjoy our summer, keep getting better, and do this whole thing again. It's a cycle, for us. So, we had our expectations. Everybody had our expectations for us. A lot of stuff happened throughout the season that derailed us, but I'm proud of how we just kept fighting and kept, keeping the faith, and every day was trying to work towards something,
So, a few very interesting notes and tidbits from that clip. We'll talk about some of those, but let me get to the bottom line for the Brooklyn Nets. This season is a failure. Nay, this season is a catastrophic failure. Because not only did the Brooklyn Nets barely make the playoffs, they were forced to play in the play-in to earn their right to be in the playoffs, but they were also swept in the first round by a team in the Boston Celtics that very well could be the one team that could knock off the Golden State Warriors. Story for another day. But this season is a critical failure for the Brooklyn Nets, or the Brooklyn Nets, I should say, because there has been so much that has been made about Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. You put these two together in the same team, they can't possibly fail. Yet what we've been witnessing over the past 2 years, I'll give him 2 years. The past 2 seasons, first season, can't count that. KD was injured, right? It has not been good. It has not been nearly as good enough as what it was hyped up to be and what it honestly should be. Because these two players on the same team, there is no reason that they should be swept in the first round. Both healthy, both playing. I understand the argument's going to be made that Kyrie Irving didn't have the team chemistry or whatever, and that may have hurt him in some of these games, and that may have hurt the team in some of these games. Well, they knew that situation going into it, and that was a decision that was made by Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets, and they agreed to move forward and live with that decision. Okay? Once you choose to live with that decision, it's not something you can take back. It's not something that you can somehow just wave a magic wand and say, well, let's make it so that this never happened. No, okay. Everyone, you should have been prepared to have Kyrie Irving either make up that time to develop that chemistry in some other way, or just not be as involved in the offense. He played very well in some games. He did not play very well in other games. By game 3, honestly, that they played on their home court in Brooklyn, that proved to me that they did not want to win this series. That they didn't have what it takes, I should say, to win this series. Kevin Durant, I have never seen in such a critical moment a big-time superstar in my lifetime. Granted, I am young, but I have never seen a big-time superstar like Kevin Durant defer so many times in such a monumental game. You're a 7th seed. You're playing the 2 seed, and you are arguably the more talented team because you have a top 3 player in the league, a top 5 point guard in the league in Kyrie Irving, who when he wants to be, he can be the best point guard in the league, again, when he wants to be. And then you have people like Patty Mills who can show up in games. You have people like Seth Curry who actually showed up a little bit in some of these games. And on top of that, you got Brown doing his thing. The bench for the Brooklyn Nets actually outplayed my expectations of them. I thought that they were going to be the problem. I thought it was going to have to be Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant the entire way, and that if anything got in this team's way, it was going to be the bench. They proved me wrong. What got in their way was KD and Kyrie. For whatever reason, guys, it's not working. And I use this same energy with the Los Angeles Lakers, who say what you want about the bubble season, say what you want about them not making the playoffs. They won a title. They won a title. Was it the same atmosphere? No. Still a title. They beat everyone who were playing in the same conditions as they were. And what they did this year, what the Lakers did this year, was a catastrophic failure. Just like what the Brooklyn Nets did this year is a catastrophic failure. Acknowledge it. Learn to live with it or deal with it. That's what they're going to have to come to. It's going to have to come to some sort of decision. I'm not saying that you're going to have to get rid of Kyrie Irving or Kevin Durant. No. Whether it's bringing someone else in, whether it's getting Ben Simmons ready, because we don't know when Ben Simmons is going to play, honestly. I don't like taking swipes at people's mental health. I believe that Ben Simmons is going through stuff. But at a certain point, he's going to have to play. Or he's going to have to decide that basketball is not the priority in his life and step away from it entirely. Because this team, this roster, this organization needs to figure their stuff out, man. Because if they don't, all they're going to do is bide time. Bide time and waste time. Which is something you can't do in the NBA. Look at Carmelo Anthony. Bided his time in Denver. Bided his time in New York. How far did that get him? Everyone knew they weren't going to win. This Brooklyn Nets team does not have what it takes right now, and they have not shown they have what it takes right now to win on a basketball court. On paper, they look amazing. On the court, it's a completely different story. I hope it changes. I hope it changes because I actually think that Kevin Durant still has a lot to prove in the NBA as far as his legacy, where he stands amongst the all-time greats, because he's a very talented player. Kevin Durant, to me, is like the Aaron Rodgers of the NBA, in that Aaron Rodgers might be one of, if not the most gifted quarterback to ever play the game. Nobody throws the ball like him. But is he the greatest? Is he even top 5 all time? Arguments can be made that he's not. Definitely not the greatest quarterback of all time. Why? Because he didn't win enough. Not as much as his contemporaries did. Not in big moments. Kevin Durant has 2 titles. But at the end of the day, that Warriors team, and that this is going to be, and this is not meant to be an asterisk next to his titles, because a title is a title, but to claim that those are solely Kevin Durant's title is not something you can do. Other players can say that they were the biggest driving force behind those titles. Kevin Durant cannot honestly say that. We cannot have an honest discussion and say that Kevin Durant was the main dominant force behind winning those titles with the Golden State Warriors. It would just be inaccurate because they were a winning team without him as well. So that's my 2 cents. The Brooklyn Nets got to figure this stuff out. Kyrie Irving and KD got to figure out how to get on the court together. It's just got to happen. Otherwise, bide time, waste time. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released.